I'm gonna give everybody a minute to get in, and then we're gonna start talking. What's up, everybody? I've missed y'all. All right. I don't know if this is working. Okay, there we go. All right. So, what's up, everybody? So, for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant, and I use my platform to teach you guys about like how to build credit, how to repair your credit, and all that stuff yourself. Because just because you can't afford to hire somebody, or just because just because you don't trust people enough to hire somebody, doesn't mean that you're not entitled to good credit. I don't know why I can't read any of these comments. I have no clue. Hold up. Oh man, I might have to stop this and start over on TikTok. There we go. All right, well, today I wanted to talk about evictions because for a lot of you, this is tax time. You're about to get your tax money, and all of y'all are thinking like, um, maybe I should go ahead and pay off my maybe I should go ahead and pay off my evictions, or maybe I should go ahead and pay off my apartment debt that I may have. Maybe you broke a lease, maybe you were illegally evicted. Like there's so many things that kind of go into the conversation about evictions or any kind of tenant debt. But the big part of the conversation that I want to talk to you guys about. Hey, can you close my door for me? Hey, Jaden. Alexa, can you make an announcement?
What's the announcement?
Can somebody come close my office door, please?
Announcement.
Okay, so the biggest thing is that a lot of people don't understand the effect that having, oh, thank you. A lot of people don't understand the effect that having evictions or having any kind of tenant debt has on your life outside of your credit. Because for a lot of people, outside of the main three credit reports, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, a lot of you don't even pay attention to the other information that's affecting your life because you don't think past your credit score. But the things that are on your tenant file, so in these third party reporting agencies, the information about you that's public record, these things all factor into how it affects your life. I had another conversation with somebody on TikTok on a video, and somebody tagged me to answer a question, and then somebody else responded to me and was like, "Well, I live in my grandmother's house. It's been in my family for decades, so I don't have a mortgage, and I buy cash cars. So this whole credit game I don't need to worry about it." But in all actuality, even if you're not looking to go into a bank and get a loan for something, the things that are reporting on your credit report or any credit report anywhere is very important, and it affects your life in many ways, right? So obviously it'll affect your ability to go get a loan or your ability to go open a bank account but what a lot of people don't understand is the things that are reporting about you can affect your ability to get a job. It will determine where you live, because most places, yeah, you now especially you got to make like 3 times the rent plus have a decent credit score just to rent. And even if you own your own home, you're going to need homeowners insurance. Your insurance, homeowners, renters insurance, car insurance, all of these things use credit when determining how much you're going to pay, or if they're going to give you insurance anyway. It affects so much more than just your ability to go into a bank. And this is why I'm so passionate about financial literacy, because it's more than just how much money you have in your pocket right now. Financial literacy is more than just paying your bills. It's more than just I can buy a house or I can buy a car, or what kind of car you buy and how big is your house. It's so much more than that. And it's so saddening to me that a lot of people can't see past that. Everybody just see, well, I bought a house and I bought a car, so I don't need anything else, so I don't need to worry about my credit, when actually that you can't be farther from the truth with that. So like I said, this was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about evictions and tenant debt and things like that. First things first, if you're not in the Facebook group, I definitely think you should join the Facebook group. My Facebook group is called Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse. Or you can just search the Money Plug LLC on Facebook and I'll pop up, and then you can go to groups that way. because in the group files there is a document that I came across. I think somebody gave it to me while I was going through training, and in that file, and it's available for free in the group. There's a file called third-party reporting agencies. A lot of people, the majority of you, know about like Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. What a lot of you don't know are the third-party reporting agencies. And the thing that you need to know about them is, number one, they are treated exactly the same as the big three, is what I call Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So you can request a copy of any report that they generate on you. You can dispute information with them. You would use the same letters, et cetera, et cetera. They all fall under the same category of responsibility. It's just that these are not well known. These are the people in the background who provide the information to the credit bureaus. And so a lot of you, focus so much on the big three, and you don't realize that these other agencies have even more information on you. I highly suggest, if you have never done this, you might want to go ahead and order a copy of your LexisNexis report. I think I ordered mine when I was like 22 or 23 or something like that, and it was already about like a lot of pages. I want to say it was almost 100 pages on me. And if you're military, I highly suggest you pull your LexisNexis. If you're a public servant, I highly suggest you pull your LexisNexis, because the information that they're reporting on you is used to determine whether or not you're able to keep your job. For those of you with security clearances, this is the information that they're going to see when you do your reinvestigation. So it is very, very important that you understand what's reporting on these agencies. Now, LexisNexis is the biggest one. Law enforcement even use this to try to find people. So they'll like use LexisNexis to see what was your last known address and things like that. If you have any licenses, LexisNexis is LexisNexis. That's what it is. And if you Google it, the website will come right up, and you don't have to worry about it. But I also have a link to access your LexisNexis and to request a copy of your LexisNexis in the Facebook group if you all need it. But you really want to make sure that you know, like I said, what's reporting on you at all times. So how do I explain this? The third-party reporting agencies have all the information that the big bureaus don't need. And what I mean by that is the big three, they care about debt specifically. LexisNexis covers things like licensure. So if you're a barber or a cosmetologist, or if you are a doctor or a lawyer, anything that requires licensure, that's going to be you'll be able to see that on your LexisNexis. If you've ever filed auto insurance claims, you'll see that on your LexisNexis report. If you've ever filed homeowners insurance claims, you'll be able to see that on your LexisNexis report. Any address that you have ever received a scrap of mail will be on your LexisNexis reports. Jobs that you probably forgot about, accounts that you probably don't remember, things like that. There's so much information available on you out there. And it's important for you to know what's reporting, because these are the things that are used to determine whether or not you get other things. So in the file in the group that I was telling you guys about, the third-party reporting agencies list, it's not a complete list. There are more out there. However, it's just that in that group file, there's a specific section that says tenant screening. Now, this is not all of the ones that they use, but these are some of the popular ones. The tenant screening services are companies that provide information specifically for rental companies. And what I mean by that is they look at things like your rental history. How long have you been renting? Where have you been renting? What is the relationship that you had with that landlord? Have they ever taken you to court? If they took you to court, did they ever get the money? Have you ever been evicted? Have you ever left balances at previous apartments? Have they ever had any issues with you? Anything that could be included in your tenant file, those things can be reported on this tenant screening report. And because these are considered credit reporting agencies, you can request a copy of your tenant screening report from all of the companies. Now, if you are looking to get an apartment, I advise you to do a lot more than just, drive-bys at apartment buildings. You need to be on the company's website, and that's the company that owns the apartment. So I remember I used to have an apartment. I used to live in Baltimore County, and I used to live out Essex. What was the name of that part? I think it was like something. It was not Whispering Woods, but it was back there. And the company is owned by Henderson Webb. So I did research on Henderson Webb, and I looked at what tenant report do they look at. And so I requested a copy of that report so I can see what they see, so that if anything incorrect is on here or anything I don't want on there, I can dispute it off, get it cleaned up, and then apply, so that I know what it looks like and I know that my chances of getting this apartment has increased. A lot of you don't want to put in that extra work when it comes to getting a place. Y'all settling for things like CPNs, and stuff like that. Fake pay stubs only going to get you so far. CPNs, you're going to get caught because they're cracking down like crazy. Thanks a lot, Atlanta. But you guys have to make sure that you know what is reporting on you when it comes to these apartments. How long can they report? It depends. Not my new name should be Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. So they can report for 7 years, right? But it's 7 years from the date of last payment. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Everybody think it's 7 years from when you first opened the account, and it's not. So if you moved out of these apartments 5 years ago, and you had a debt with them, but you needed to get this new apartment that's coming up that you just got the keys for, and you just made a payment to that last apartment, now that's going to report for another 7 years. You guys have to understand, and I know, like, when I be sitting here talking about, and you know what, I got it today. Where is it? Because I'm in here cleaning my office, y'all. So I got it today. I be talking about how you guys need to order these. I'm still going through my emails. I have a lot of people who emailed me and said they wanted a copy because I had some extras because they're not shipping them out right now. But you guys can, Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. So what you can do is go online, get a PDF version, but you actually need to open it. Don't just get it and have it sitting on your desk. Don't just get it and just be looking at it. This right here is all the information that you need to start disputing. This is all the information that you need to start winning your disputes. And not just this, you also need to understand your state laws. For example, in the state of Texas, once a debt statute of limitations, or how long a company has to sue you, once that expires in the state of Texas, it cannot be reset. Meaning, even if you pay, even if you dispute and they validate, it don't matter. It cannot reset the statute of limitation. So you need to know your state's specific laws, because your state could have laws that also protect you when it comes to certain things. If you have an eviction or you have tenant debt, you need to look up your state laws regarding evictions and disclosures, making sure that, they are sent you the right amount of disclosures. You got the right amount of time to move out or dispute or whatever it was you needed to do for your eviction. But the only way that you can get these things off and protect yourself is by educating yourself. A lot of people have been illegally evicted. I've been illegally evicted. I wish I knew the name of that apartment complex. All I know is that it is a Henderson Webb community, and they illegally evicted me, and I wasn't even living in the apartment at the time. And then when I went to get another apartment through the Henderson Webb company, they tried to say that this was like 2 years later, they tried to say that they thought I was on deployment, and so they had been charging me rent for an additional 2 years, and that I had to pay it back. So then when I went, yes, I hate Henderson Webb. And so when I went back and looked at Maryland state laws and the benefit given to me by the SCRA, and the fact that I never notified them that I was going on deployment or anything similar to a deployment, I ended up not owing them anything, and they ended up having to pay me. And they were threatening, I'm telling you, they violated so many laws because they were threatening to seize my assets. They were telling me that they were going to contact my command team and get me kicked out of the military. Like, they violated so many laws, but I protected myself because I knew this. I also knew the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which states that a debt collector cannot make threats. They can't write checks they ass can't cash. So they are not judges. So they can't say that they're going to freeze my assets, because the only person who can make that determination is the judge. They can't say that they're going to get me kicked out of the military, because the only people who can make that kind of judgment is my leadership. So you need to know these laws. They're not out there to protect these businesses. Low key, they're out here to protect you. But the reason why a lot of these companies and businesses can get over on us is because we just don't know. And we don't know that we don't know. We're just content with the status quo, with what's going on right now. You have to know better to do better. Y'all know, I tell y'all all the time, you have to do your research. Start asking questions. Even with my content, I tell y'all all the time, if you don't think something I said is true, tell me why you think I'm wrong so that I can explain it to you. I literally go back and try to respond to every single comment on every single video. I try to respond to every single email. I'm talking even on the weekends when I'm supposed to be off. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I do everything that I can to give you guys not only just the information that you need, but access to the place where you can go and verify it yourself. Because I can talk to you all day, but if a lot of people, if you don't go look at it yourself, it's hard for you to believe. So go do that. Get the information. I got all the links for all of this stuff in the Facebook group. Matter of fact, I'll even upload my PDF. I do have the PDF of this. I'll upload my PDF today into the Facebook group for you guys, so you don't even have to search. You guys can just get it straight out of the Facebook group. But it's very, very important that you guys educate yourself when it comes to your rights and what you are entitled to as a consumer, especially when it comes to these evictions, because it's so much more than, I was talking to this girl the other day. I did you got any tips on how to maximize the Amex Platinum? It all depends on your spending habits. And that goes for what kind of cards to add, how to use a card. It all depends on your spending habits. So evaluate your current spending habits and look at it's not much they don't reward you for, let's be clear, but look at the benefits of the Amex Platinum or whatever credit card any of you have and see what they reward you for. And so all the spending that you do for that category, use that card. It's just that when you use it, pay that shit off. That allows you, that's number one, you won't be spending money that you don't have. You won't be paying interest on any of the purchases you make. And it helps you better manage your credit card debt. If you go ahead and swipe your credit card and then immediately schedule a payment. I'm fresh out of a bankruptcy. What should I do? When it comes to bankruptcy, the biggest thing is a lot of people think it's a clean slate. It's not a clean slate. It's a fresh slate, and it's a difference. You literally have to start from the bottom. So depending on where your credit score is right now and what you actively have reporting on your credit report, you're going to need to add some new accounts, and you might not qualify for the good cards. You might have to get the First Premier, the Indigo. You might have to get the Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. You might have to get those subprime credit cards with the annual fees and the high interest rate. Alexa, dismiss. You might have to get those subprime lenders, right? Just so that you can generate enough history to qualify for better cards. Some other accounts that I would suggest for people who have filed bankruptcy or people who struggle with payment history. Maybe you have a lot of charge-offs, or maybe you just got a lot of late payments. You can add on accounts that won't negatively impact things like credit utilization or won't even give you an inquiry. I've been talking about them a lot lately for those of you who just constantly getting denied for stuff, yet you're still trying to build history. I always say things like prepaid credit cards. So the Credit Sesame Cash card, if you download the Sesame Cash app, you can literally fill out the little app for the Sesame Cash card, and they'll send it right to you. There's no credit inquiry. There's no fees. There's no interest because you're not borrowing any money. With prepaid credit cards, how it works is you put money on these debit cards, and as long as you use the money that's on that debit card, then they'll report on-time payment history for that month. And you only spend what you add to the card. So if you don't add any money to the card, then you have no money to spend, and you're not allowed to go over or borrow like a regular credit card. Now, prepaid credit cards do not affect your credit utilization. So for those of you who are struggling with that, this is not going to help you. But for those of you who need that on-time payment history, adding accounts like that, adding things like the app Outro, I am obsessed with this app. Outro allows you to use your subscriptions and things like Netflix, Hulu, Apple Plus, whatever it is you sit there and pay for anyway. It allows you to use that history, but it reports to all 3 credit bureaus. I know a lot of you use like Experian Boost. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's bullshit because number one, it only inflates your Experian score, not all of them. But with Outro, you can use the same things, the same subscriptions that you're probably using for Experian Boost, and you can use them for Outro depending on what it is. And then my third suggestion for adding accounts to help with your payment history, it's going to be things like, what is it called? Rental reporting. I couldn't even get it out. So if you pay anybody anything to be staying there, even if it's just you give your mother like $100 a paycheck or something like that, what you can do is you guys can go draw up a lease, right? You can draw up a lease and print one out and sign it. It's nothing to get that notarized or whatever you need to do to make it a legally binding contract. And then what you can do is, I love BoomPay, but there are other companies out there, Rental Karma, I think it's called, and other companies, but I prefer BoomPay. The reason why I like BoomPay is because for most of you that are paying rent now, you're doing it electronically. You're sending Zelle payments, or you're logging into the portal and entering your credit card information and paying that way. So with BoomPay, they monitor your bank account. And when that amount for your rent comes out every month, they'll go ahead and report on-time payment history to the credit bureaus. And they'll go as far back as 2 years worth of rental payment history. For I think it's like an additional fee. But 2 years worth of on-time payments for somebody who is struggling when it comes to things like late payments, or if you have a lot of charge-offs, which usually is from late payments leading up to the account being closed and things like that, these accounts can really help you rebuild. What credit score should you have to apply for an Amex card? Number one, it depends on the kind of card you're applying for. And number two, it's not just, I hate that y'all focus only on the score. Number one, you shouldn't just be adding a card just to be adding a card. You need to make sure that the card you're applying for is going to benefit the spending you're already doing. When you guys get credit cards, that should not prompt you to start spending more. You should still be spending the same amount that you would normally spend on your debit card. It's just that now you're getting rewarded for those purchases. So for example, people be like, oh, what credit card should I get? Number one, print out your last month's bank statements for your main bank account, the one where most of your money come out of, and evaluate your spending. Categorize it. This is how much I spend on restaurants. This is how much I spend on Amazon. This is how much I spend on clothing. Separate it so that you know what you're spending all your money on, and then look at all of the credit cards that Amex offer and see which one of the Amex cards will reward you for the spending that you're already doing. Remember, the goal is not to get you into debt. A lot of people think that that credit cards are all about debt. Oh my God, I'm about to rack up a lot of debt. But when it comes to managing your credit card debt responsibly, if you're only spending what you already have, you are never paying extra. You're never, they're not taxing you, not paying interest because you're paying it right away. And you're not allowing that balance to get out of control. And that's very, very important. I'm refinance. Hold on. Is Amex Plant a high level credit card? Yes, it is. If I'm refinancing with another company and was approved, can I ask the current company to remove late payments? You can. If you do it before the account closes, then you probably have more leverage. Even after the account closes, technically there's no incentive for them to do so, but you can always ask. Now, I always say asking questions won't cost you points. And then if they tell you no, what you can then do is try to force them to prove every late payment. And then in the end, now with late payments, I always tell people, because a lot of people kind of go about it the wrong way. I always say, if you can't get them off, it's not the end of the world. If you tried everything you could and the late payments just will not come off, you have to shift your thinking. So now, instead of removing the late payment, what can you add to your credit report that will cover up the late payment? The only thing that can make a late payment look good is on-time payments. I know your Amazon tell you. Woo, don't be telling my business. Okay, so Nate, I joined these deal groups on Facebook, y'all. And so they send me text messages when they catch real good deals. Let me tell y'all, I'm gonna start tipping the Amazon man. My house by heart. It's to the point where I'm about to just give him my phone number so he can call me when he's outside. That's how bad it is. I'm always on Amazon. My husband is a veteran and we're trying to buy a house, but he has a repossession and a rental collection. Now, with the repossession, unless you're willing to pay it in the event that they can validate that debt, I advise you not to touch it. And that's with anybody with repossessions. When it comes to repossessions, these are the most sued debt. And if you don't believe me, you can go on pacer.gov and create an account and you can see it for yourself. Repossessions are so easy to prove because all they need is your credit application and the approval from the finance team. Thank you so much. Somebody said your knowledge is everything. So, when you have repossessions, you have to be able to identify a way they messed up. So it's very important that you know your state's laws regarding repossessions as well, because when it comes to repos, certain disclosures need to be given in a certain amount of time. Time is also a very good, important part. They have to give you time to recover your vehicle. How long did they give you? How long did they try to contact you to let you know that they were going to repossess the vehicle? It's so many things that goes into a repossession. So it's going to require you to actually know information about your repossession. So go through your paperwork. If you can identify something that they did wrong or a really big inaccuracy that could get it removed, then you could try to get it removed by disputing it. However, if you can't guarantee that, I do not advise you touching the repossession. Now, with the rental collection, if it's unpaid, one thing that you can do is force the rental company to prove that you even owe a debt. And for that, I always tell people, request a copy of your tenant file. If you request a copy of your tenant file, that's going to demonstrate the relationship between you and the rental company that you was renting from, right? So it's going to have everything from your signed lease, any complaints that they've had on you, any paperwork that they had to do, maintenance-wise. If you have to do a move-out checklist, it's going to have a copy of your move-out checklist and things like that. So if you request a copy of your tenant file and they cannot produce it, then they have no evidence that demonstrates the relationship between you and the rental company. company, and therefore there is no relationship between you and the rental company, and they have to legally remove it. They have to be able to prove the debt that they're saying that you owe. They have to show the relationship between you and that original rental company, even if it's in collections. Now, if they do provide a copy of your tenant file, there's no signature on the lease, or if inside the lease it says that a stipulation of the move out process is that you all have to do a walkthrough and you have to sign paperwork and you did not do so, then that is also grounds for that. That violates the lease agreement. And so now that can get you out of the money that you owe and get it to stop reporting. It really just depends on the intricacies of the account. You really got to pour through that account and find something that went wrong in that account. And you can use that. You can use that to get it removed. What law protects us from collection reporting a past dues, open account? That's the FCRA period. When it comes to how collections, collections are not the same as charge-offs in the sense that with a charge-off, they have a duty to report the history associated with the account. And so with them, if you signed a contract that says, hey, I'll see you later. When it comes to charge-offs, if you signed a contract and then you don't make a payment, then that justifies that past due amount. However, with collections, with a collection company, you don't sign a contract with them. They buy the rights to collect on a debt from somebody else. So because you never signed a contract with them saying that you were going to pay, or you never told them like, hey, I'm going to pay this right now, or I'm going to pay this tomorrow, I'm going to pay this next Tuesday, and they don't have it in writing where you said that, which makes it a legally binding contract. And then that date passes and you don't pay, they cannot report a past due payment. And so you can literally just, I mean, a lot of y'all be trying to get too litigious in your letters by saying, well, according to article this, you don't have to do that. And by doing that, you can actually piss them off even more, cause them to do a little bit more digging, and then they're going to validate it just to piss you off. You don't want to be too litigious starting out. Shit. But Alexa, dismiss. You don't want to be too litigious starting out, but you do want to make sure that the letters that you're sending, kind of make sense. King Pop, can you email me, please? Because I thought I put an order in and I can't remember if I did. And if I did, I didn't get it. I got to log off, y'all, because I got a client. I'm actually late for my client talking to y'all. But do me a favor. Join the Facebook group, Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse. That's the name of the Facebook group. Or you can search the Money Plug, LLC and look under groups so that you can get notified when I go back live. My appointment shouldn't last longer than a half hour. So at 12 o'clock, I'll be back and I'll be live to answer some more questions for you guys. So make sure you follow me and I'll go ahead and schedule the live on TikTok. And if you register, if you click on any of my videos after I set up the live, you should get a little thing at the bottom saying that I'll be going live at 12 o'clock. You can register and you'll be notified when I go live if you have any questions. So y'all give me about an hour and I'll be back to answer some more of y'all questions. All right. But it's been lovely talking to y'all. Y'all know what I always say, just in case I don't come back. Y'all know what I always say. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. And I